We're missing Jean.
Oh, no, she's at Michelle. That's right. She's in the clerk.
That's the only one we're missing, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all right, 7, okay. All right. All right, welcome. It's now 6 o'clock. Welcome to the Town Council's public hearing for fiscal year 24 budget. I'd like to call the order. We do have a quorum. We have one person missing, and that's going to be Jean Davis. And we are now in session. Allison?
Mr. Mayor, members of council, this is the public hearing for the 2024 water and sewer and corporate budgets. Before Jeff Voigt gives a very quick overview, a recap, I just wanted to mention a couple things related to the budget. The resignation of the Public Works Director does leave some additional funds. What I've done, I just wanted to mention that what I've done is we do have people in place that have their certifications and are ready to work as the overseeing the wastewater operations. So Brock will be doing that, and then Sean will be overseeing the public works operation of the grounds maintenance and all the buildings. So the town should not see any concerns with that. I have reached out to the county, and so they are very willing to help us with the things that that the current staff that will remain in place after July, any questions that they have. So we'll be operating under the current MOU as they proceed with trying to get us their proposal. And let's see, I think Jeff's going to mention that I have reached out to Steve Manster, trying to get a hold of him so that he can, I'd like him to review our finances just to see if maybe there's a way that the town can save additional money. I think it's really helpful to have a previous town manager who has had experience with working in a town where we are striving to save our pennies. And so as soon as we get a hold of him, then I'll be hopefully getting some feedback from him. Because the town attorney and the town council have reduced their salaries, I'd like also to reduce my salary, and I've asked the town attorney while I'm here to just provide a new contract. My contract doesn't have anything special in it about, the minute I walk out the door, I don't get anything after that point, no severance or anything like that. But while I'm here, I'd like to help the town. I really love this town, and I'd like to help it by reducing my salary as well, although you will not see a change in the salary because we don't know who we'll be hiring as the new town manager. So we'll leave that the way it is. And then I just wanted to make sure that the last thing is that the town knew that even though it's been a struggle to get the data that we have been able to retrieve, and it's not perfect, we acknowledge that in some of the columns, but hopefully the FY24 proposal works for the town, and we've already reviewed that. But I just wanted to make sure that the town council and all the town understood that the money is safe. We just don't have accurate line items of where we place the money. We will be fixing that, but the budget, the balance in our account as of today is $3,179,138.32. The balance in our account as of July 1st, 2022 was $2,344,582.10. So we have, it's almost the end of the fiscal year. We only have a couple weeks left. We don't have anything really. We've done all our accounts payable to the end of the year, so the money going out will be very limited. And so, as you can see, we have almost $1 million more in the bank. Since last July 1st. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Allison. All right. So I guess we'll do a presentation then. Jeff's going to do a quick overview. All right, Jeff.
Yeah, we've of course had our work sessions and we've talked about this for a little while now, but this is a public hearing, so certainly appropriate to go over a bit of it. Hold on, I'm sharing the screen to the recording. And by the way, it's recording. I will put this on the YouTube channel tonight after we're done. Okay. All right. Here we go. So I'm just going to read through this thing pretty quick. It's only a handful of slides here. So this is presentation for our 24 budget. So to kind of go over the process and timeline, staff started getting the data together, what they could, back in December. As we're aware, there were complications in the financial department that included resignation of key staff. That certainly delayed some things. A financial expert was hired in April to assist with the process of trying to procure some of that data, or at least see what the problems were. They also assisted in advising in some general operations. Council started having work sessions in January initially to talk about budgetary concerns. In May is when we actually had a proposed budget and had the several work sessions to get it to where it is now, ready for our public hearing here. Some of the challenge that we were facing is still being in the midst of the financial transition. Over the last months, there's been an assortment of issues, compatibility with systems, data loss in the transition, availability of system access, and of course, training. At that same time, there's been some staff turnover, and that loss of personnel during the transition caused a bit of a knowledge gap when new staff were getting hired or moved around, and they had not been present at those training sessions, so things had to start over from scratch. Meanwhile, a lot of time, a lot of effort's been put into place to get past those issues. In doing that and getting the other outside help, we then became aware of some deeper, maybe more long-running concerns. So we found stuff that needs to be fixed in the immediate and stuff that needs to be fixed ongoing. Let's see here. So kind of going off what Allison had just said, the issues with availability of perfect accounting data has limited our focus in all of this preparation. So we've had to really focus just on the most reliable points of projection for our revenues and expenditures. Another big key concern was the persisting issues with the town sewer system because of the high cost factor in addressing those things, even though they are a pretty severe need. A big point that we definitely talked about a lot was we had some discussion about the different town services' ability to fund themselves without being subsidized from the general fund. All right, so some highlights. The overall budget request is a 17.5% drop from the last fiscal year. That was done basically with extensive cuts to all the departments. No personnel positions were removed at the time. The council has chosen to remove the compensation of all elected positions for this budget cycle. But in touching the elected position compensation, no compensation of any current hired employees was affected. So revenues, $2,069,245. Of that, the general fund is 55% of revenues projected to come in at $1,145,395. The water fund is projected at 23%, or $479,600. The sewer system at 21% of the overall revenue projections at $444,250. Meanwhile, on the expenditure side, expenditures are $1,930,660. The general fund is 50% of that at $946,184. The water fund is 21% at $414,879, and the sewer is 29% at $569,597. That is going to bring us to totals, which the projected revenues are in excess of the expenditures for a excess gap of $138,585. What this does not account for is there is a additional loan payment that did not have a general ledger item in the budget, so it wasn't getting reported. We talked about that at a prior meeting. The number for that turned out to be around $5,000 a month. So we may have to, at some point, after digging into some of the other revenues and getting more of the book straight, as is the ongoing effort, make a budget amendment at that point. But our excess here does have the ability to withstand that. That is pretty much the extent of going over everything that we have talked about at this point. So now would be the time to, I suppose, open the public hearing.
And one other thing, Mr. Mayor, this budget does include Leos for our 2 full-time police officers. That's expected not to be any more than, I think we added $5,000 a year for Leos for your consideration. If you'd like to know more about that, then we'd be happy to talk about that. Leos it helps our police officers in retirement.
All righty, thank you. All right, so I guess we will open public hearing first for the fiscal year 24 corporate budget. So if we have anybody here who would like to speak, I would like to open up public hearing, fiscal year 24 corporate budget. This is only on the budget itself, not the water and sewer. So if anybody would like to speak, please come forward, state your name and address.
Bonnie Cannon, South Main Street. I'm sorry I probably missed some presentation here, but I think I got things in my head here. I couldn't drive from Sparta in less than 15 minutes. I think it's great what you guys do. I compliment everybody, but I still think you should do work on your budget. I think there's a lot of cutting of numbers you can do in some areas. In some areas, and I mentioned some things when I was here, a week ago, whenever it was. But I think y'all, there's still some more work you do to do some more cutting on the budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Bonnie. Anybody else for the fiscal 20-year corporate budget? All right, seeing none, I will close that public hearing. On to item number 2, fiscal year 24 water and sewer budget. I now officially open up public hearing for that.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
before there's any speakers, I just wanted to clarify that this is for the water and sewer budget, but it is not the increase of rates. That had to be separately advertised, and due to the timing of that, and knowing how the council will already have 3 meetings this month, and I didn't want to add the 29th as another meeting. It's scheduled, I talked to the town attorney, it's scheduled for your meeting in July 6th, for the increase of water and sewer rates and trash service. It is
So-
reflected in the budget, but the increase is, it will take effect immediately if council approves it on July 6th. So there's a public hearing, July 6th, and then it'll take effect immediately. The public hearing for that is not tonight. The public hearing for the water and sewer budget is tonight. The numbers are reflected in the budget, but the public hearing for it is not until the 6th.
If I may for a moment,
So no,
the budget itself is separate from the rate schedule. And when you advertise for the budget, it's a 1 week. When you advertise for the rates, it's a 2 week, somewhat odd. So we have to wait for that. And in addition, whereas that's maybe a bit of a strange way that that's done, when you have the public hearing for the rates, you can adopt those the same night. However, when you have the public hearing for the budget like we are right now, you can't adopt that the same night. So we have to come back for, I'm blanking on when our other meeting is. When's the other meeting?
The
For this?
22nd.
The 22nd?
Mhm.
Okay. So we have to wait the week to come back and do that. Just explaining the timing of it.
Right, so next week, council will vote to adopt the budgets on the 22nd. They'll vote for that. And then on July 6th, they'll have the public hearing for the rate increase.
okay. So now, let's get back to this. Fiscal year 24, water and sewer. Is there any other discussions before I even ask anybody to get up here? All right, hearing none. What it is, yes, Arthur, go ahead, sir.
I was just going to try to clarify for Mrs. Cannon. So
Okay.
tonight is about the corporate budget and the water and sewer budget, and we can't do the rate increase at the same time, so that has to be spread out. So next Thursday, we'll adopt this information. In the next meeting, which is July 6th, we'll talk about the rate increase, and then after the public hearing, we can adopt that immediately at that time once we call for the vote. Well, from what Mr. Voigt said, I mean, that, I guess, is a state
Yeah,
thing
it's
that
a state
doesn't even
regulation.
make sense, but that's just what it is. I mean, you got to wait 1 week versus 2. I mean, it's kind of odd in itself.
Normally, there's more time, but because we have to have an adopted budget, we're taking a little bit out of order. But we have to adopt this, we have to have adopted budget by June 30th. So unfortunately, the water and sewer rate increase discussion, public hearing, and decision is going to be a few days after the start of the fiscal year.
We're not the only ones that are doing that this year.
Oh, okay.
All right, so if I'm correct on this, then do we have a budget that states at our regular rate that we were at for fiscal year 23? Instead of one that has the updated rates, or is the updated rates not in this?
So increasing the rates would raise the revenue part of the budget. And so we have that number in the budget with the increase already in place. If the revenue is decreased, if the town council chooses not to adopt the new rates, then the revenue
Would really
decreases.
decrease, okay.
Yeah,
All right, okay.
and we'll have to do an amendment.
Yeah, because it's hard to go from low to high. You can always reduce. You can't, it's hard to increase. Okay. So everything that is in the budget as you see it now is with the updated rates. Just understand that will not be in effect until council votes on it in July after the public hearing for the rate increases on the water and sewer.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Anybody wish to speak on the water and sewer budget? Please come forward, state your name and address.
Yeah,
that
press the button
Hit the
again.
button again.
I'm sorry, I'm confused. I just don't, I know what you're saying, but I don't know why I'm standing up here. This is too confusing. May I comment on your comment and your comment about July 6th? It's all related to the budget, or may I not?
I'd rather you keep it to the water and sewer if you want.
Well, I want to talk about water and sewer.
Then
I don't understand if you're gonna have a public hearing on the 6th, you get input from citizens. It looks like to me you would go back to the drawing board and think this out some more before you make a decision right on the spot at that time. Like to me, you could do a little more homework before you make a decision about increasing the water and sewer.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Thank y'all.
Appreciate it. All right, anybody else? All right, hearing none, I'll close public hearing for water and sewer budget. All right, I guess we need to now push it on to just June 22nd, is that right?
That's correct.
All right, June 22nd meeting to where we will then vote on to adopt the budget. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All right, got a motion by Arthur.
second it.
Second by Randy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you, folks.